everybody, and welcome to Paper Crafting with Tammy. Thank you so much for stopping by my channel today. It is awesome to see you here. I have a great project for us today that we're going to start on in just a minute. If you haven't done it yet, take a minute and hit that big red subscribe button so you see what else I've got for you next time, and let's get started. Hey paper crafting friends, thanks for tuning in today. I am here to share a 2-page layout that I'm going to work on today using the December 2020 Kiwi Club Kit. So it is monthly collaboration time, so there'll be several videos in this series. So make sure you click on the description box below my video, and that'll give you links to see the other videos that are participating in this collaboration. So this month's kit is called Chillin' with My Gnomies, and it definitely has a fun Christmassy feel to it. I want to use it in a little bit different way today. So rather than really going with that Christmas theme, which I'm not working on Christmas pictures right now, so I have some other pictures that I want to use. So let me show you what I'm going to bring in. My really featured paper is going to be this one with the gnomes and the little houses. And although you can see that they are decorating for Christmas, if you look really carefully at this paper, I am going to really try to pull people's attention to the trees and the little houses themselves. And that is going to be my goal, because the pictures that I'm going to use today are from a trip to Leavenworth, Washington that I took with my family a couple years ago during spring break. And we were staying at this Worldmark property up there. And you can see these snow-covered mountains in the background, this beautiful pond on the property. It is really just a lovely place. And this town has its own kind of Bavarian magic going on. And I just thought, you know, the playfulness of the gnomes and the kind of mystical, magical sense that kind of come with gnomes, I thought would be just fun for this page. So these are the photos I'm going to be choosing from and playing with. This is the palette I'm looking at. And then I am bringing in some templates from some other months. So these are from the Wonderland set. And I thought just some little homes, little magical houses would be fun. I have a couple of mountains that I can bring in and layer. Those are from Wilderness and a la carte mountain. And then I rounded up every tree I could find. A couple of them are from Wonderland. So I think all 3 of those are from Wonderland. This is an a la carte from one of the snap frame kits. And then I've got my pine a la carte. And then this one from Wilderness. So lots of trees to play with. I have not laid this out yet. So this is all right now just in my head. I know the border that I'm going to bring in will be this Matthew Boulevard. And I'm not sure what else yet, but this Matthew Boulevard has a really cool, the 1A and 1B has a really neat kind of mountain shape to start with. And then when you layer another mountain behind it, it's just a really cool look. So I know I'm going to bring that one in. And then of course the gnomes that came in this month's kit. So I'll be playing with those gnome templates. And just so you know, I am pulling my inspiration today from the Ideas to Inspire that Kiwi Lane provides each month that they put out these monthly club kits. So they're always several pages. I print each one and keep it handy while I'm working with that kit. And then when I'm down to scraps, then I pass the printed copy off to someone else. But this is the layout that really inspired me today. You can see there's some mountains and trees, and then the little gnomies thrown in. And I just thought it would be fun to use this kit in a way that's not a holiday page, and just give you some more ideas with it. So I am going to start getting an idea laid out and just a basic thought for what's coming, and I'll pop back on and show you where I'm at. Thanks again for being here today. I was able to get my basic layout put out here and choose the photos that I want to use and get the templates laid out. So this is really what I had in my mind, and that's up here on this top left page. I really wanted to create the feeling of this area where we were staying. And that is these fun little houses, lots of beautiful mountains surrounding, and then these trees. And so I was able to create kind of a little, almost like a little village there, a little mountain village. And that's the feeling that I wanted. So I'm happy with that. And I wanted to definitely include the little gnomies because they're just so sweet. So I'm going to do one gnome here with that nice tall hat, and he'll be a good fill for this spot. But I wanted to ground him a little bit, so I ended up pulling in just a 1-inch strip for down here. There is one sentiment card from this kit that is not necessarily so holiday related. So I think what all I'm going to pull off of here is this place and this date. And I've got a couple of ideas for templates that would work well for that. So there's this one from the caption set that would work, or from Tiny Notations. And I just thought those would be a good way to kind of document this particular event, whether I put them up at the top. I don't know yet where those are going to go. And then on this side, I still wanted to bring some trees over, so I was able to pull these larger trees because I had some space down here. I have not really committed that this is exactly how this corner is going to look. I may end up switching out to these smaller trees over here. I know for sure I won't include the stars because I don't want it to have that holiday feel, but I do want a little tree cluster over here. Okay, and only have so many templates to lay it out. So we'll see how that goes. I'm gonna pull another little gnomie in over here on this corner. And I did go ahead and echo that 1-inch strip from here up at the top. Okay. So the one thing that I am not sure about on here is actually this background paper. So this is the background paper that came in the kit, and it's this blue on one side, and then the flip side is a really beautiful turquoise. I almost don't want to use both of those sheets as backgrounds, so I may swap them out. I found just a nice dark blue that I could use instead. This is out of my close to my heart stash. So I may end up utilizing this as my background paper. It still goes really well with the palette that I had chosen. And that way I can use that turquoise that's on the other side of this for something later. This is the basic idea. I am gonna start making some paper choices and some cuts, and I will pop back on and show you as I go through that process. This is the paper that I'm going to be using with the Matthew Boulevard 1A and 1B template. And I know that this particular piece, the one with the kind of mountain feel, is the one that I'm going to want the trees to be standing straight up, and I want to make sure that I don't accidentally end up with that upside down. So this 1A needs to be the piece that I trace first, and it needs to be down at the bottom of my paper. So I'm going to go ahead and do that one. And then because of the way I went ahead and designed it, the companion piece for that is going to be fine, just being right on top. And remember, you just make a little mark right at the edge, and then I can do that cut on my trimmer, and that way I get a nice straight cut there, and I just have the one scissor cut to do. As I'm starting to lay this out and get an idea of how it's going to come together, I started trying to think about what I could use as far as any sentiment cards or anything that was going to work. So I had already showed you that I was thinking about using the date and the place off of here, but I ended up going someplace that was a little bit unexpected, and I started digging through some of my older sets, and I found this set of compliments from an old Close to My Heart set called Make Waves. And I always kind of just flip through these, and you can see that there's this piece here that says magical. So I decided I'm going to go ahead and pull that. It's got a fun glittery white feel to it. And I really just wanted to kind of give you guys that thought of, you want to make sure that you're not putting yourself in a corner by thinking, oh my gosh, that's a mermaid set. There's nothing in there that's going to work for this. Absolutely. Just try to keep in mind what you already have. because sometimes you'll be shocked at what is going to work. So I think this word, this word magical is going to work perfectly. And I love the glitter because that's really, it was snowy and just this beautiful magical trip. And that's what I wanted to make this page reflect. So I'm going to pull this in, and then that may end up meaning that one of my mountains on that initial page, maybe it needs to be glittery. We'll see, but I do have some other paper that I can pull in. But I love this. So I'm going to poke around in here and see what else I can find that would be a fun pop on this side or on the other as I get going. If you're going to use something like glitter for accents with your templates, it is really hard to trace on that glitter side. So make sure that you know how you want your templates to be facing. And then what I would recommend is anytime you're going to turn a piece of paper over, make sure that your templates are also turned over. So if you're going to turn this upside down, turn these upside down as well. So I am going to go ahead and make both of these mountains actually with the glitter. If it feels like too much, I can change it. But remember, we're doing all of that layering with the houses and with the trees. So I don't think it's going to end up feeling like too much, but I will keep my eye on that and we'll see. But just a quick tip for when you're doing that kind of work with glitter. Way easier on the back. I just wanted to share another quick tip as I was going to cut these out. Don't forget to think about your sentiment cards and what you're actually going to use for any layouts or cards and what you're likely going to be left with at the end. Sometimes those can be really great for making embellishments. So I am going to use these two. I don't go caroling, so I know I'm not going to use that for a couple of my pine trees. So they're a really nice green, a little different than what's included in the kit. So on the back of this Fa La La, I've got this really beautiful bright green. That's going to be a really lovely pop too. And then I've got this other green. So I think between the three of them, I could create several different colors of trees and have a lot to choose from. So I just wanted to remind you about using those sentiment cards. All right, this is probably my last tip. I'm probably making you guys crazy. I just discovered something super fun. Okay, so I cut my little houses out of this turquoise, right? I just thought those would be cute. And on the back side is this great blue print, and I thought I'll make my windows out of this blue print. So when I went to start tracing my windows, okay, fun discovery. All right, I don't know if I can show you down here. So if you trace your windows right on the junction of the design, then it makes it look like the window has got panes. So that was just kind of one of those happy accidents that I just had to share with you. So hopefully you can see that and you can see what I'm talking about. Anyway, just a fun little like, woohoo! I love it when I discover stuff like that. Happy accidents are amazing. Okay, hopefully you're ready to see how this all came together. I'm not gonna lie, this was a little bit of a labor-intensive project, but a labor of love. So I'm really excited about how it came together, and I'm just gonna layer it in so you can see kind of one step at a time some of the choices that I made. So I had that really fun gnome paper with the little houses that I used for the border. And I really did want that to show and just be a fun feature, okay? So that's there. And then I used this really fun striped paper. It's nice and bold, and I feel like it brings in so many of the colors and just gives me a great bouncing off place for the rest of my design. Okay. Then I decided I really wanted to anchor the bottom of the page, especially when I went to stand this gnome on here. He really looked like he was floating in space. So I just pulled in another strip of this really fun striped paper. This is a 1-inch strip. Okay. And up here, these photos are actually going to rest on it a little bit. So they're just going to come up and layer over it. Okay. As far as these photos go, when I first laid it out, these were all 4x6, but I wanted to cut them down enough that there's some of the paper showing behind them. I'm not going to mat them. I think they're fine on this blue paper, so I'm not going to mat them. And these ended up being 3.5 by 5 3/4. I really just trimmed a 1/4 inch off of each side, off of the side of each photo, and then I cut them all down to 3.5 inches tall. Okay. The other choice that I made, and I forgot to mention, I did go ahead and bring in some close to my heart background paper instead of the paper that came in the kit, simply because I really love that paper and I'm going to hold on to it for another project. So I already showed you that I was going to bring in this really fun piece here that just says magical. I pulled this out of a close to my heart kit. Funnily enough, it's out of a mermaid kit, which is kind of hysterical, but bringing this piece in made some other decisions for me. Okay. When I decided that I wanted to bring this in, then I decided that I needed to carry that glitter somewhere else across the page. So then the mountains became this white glitter. Okay, so there's one of those things kind of happens when you make a decision. It affects other things. So let's layer those mountains in. So then we've got those, and love that. I really think that that turned out fun. Then I decided I was going to start getting my trees cut, and I wanted to do several different colors of green. So I showed you in the video how I used the back of a couple of the sentiment cards to do that. So I've got my trees here. And then I started pulling in my trees on this side. And I ended up deciding that I was going to do this big one, this really bright, bright green. So again, once you make a decision like that, you can't just have this one pop of bright green. I did bring a little bit here, and then you'll see that I also popped a little bit in on one of the gnomes. And then I decided to, originally I had pulled in some of the larger trees over here, but I decided that I wanted to just do this cluster with the same size pine as over here, and then just one of these little guys. And I'm happy with how that turned out. So that big tree is really the dominant focus on this side. Okay. My houses, I had a lot of fun with. I took those 2 templates from the Wonderland set and just ended up cutting them out of this turquoise paper. And then I showed you the trick on the windows that ended up making the windows look like they had panes. I could have cut the roofs out of a different color paper, but I decided that I really just liked the turquoise and I wanted to keep it kind of simple. So that's just a fun little turquoise pop on there. And I had the other one planned for somewhere here, kind of in between those mountains. Okay. For this bottom area, I chose these 2 pieces off of that one sentiment card. They just say date and place. And I cut them with the tiny notations 5T, just to create a little bit of an interest on there. And they're just going to kind of anchor the photos to that 1-inch strip. Something like that. And then the gnomes. Oh my goodness, these are so fun to make. I ended up not inking around the beard on the gnomes because I really wanted that white to just kind of stay crisp. And I thought if I inked it, it was going to lose a little bit of that sharpness on the beard. So I made this little guy for over here. And in that set of embellishments from that Close to My Heart set where I got the magical, there were a few of these little pieces here that I was able to punch out. So I put one on this guy's hat and I put one on this guy's hat. So that brings that glitter in. I think I'm going to set him down a little bit. so he doesn't cover up too much of that picture. And then I just had like 3 more of these little snowflakes, is what I'm going to call them. So I am probably just going to put these up here for just a little touch. And that is really how this one's going to come together. I will get everything taped down and decide what things I'm going to elevate with some foam dots. But this is the basic idea, and I thought it was really fun to be able to use the gnomes and this paper for something that's not Christmas, but that just has that magical kind of village feel of this fun little town that we went to in Leavenworth, Washington. So I hope that you picked up some new tips along the way today and had fun creating along with me. And whatever you are doing, I hope that you're getting some time to paper craft and just enjoy that. So I will hopefully see you again soon, and I appreciate the time you took to join me today. Talk to you later. Bye-bye.